Okay, well, I think we're going to get started. I would just ask everybody to mute yourself if you're not already. I'm hearing echoes. So welcome everybody. We're really honored to have with us today Miranda Dick. Miranda's a mother of 5 and a matriarch from Secwepemc Ulu. In solidarity with actions all over, she has been mobilizing grassroots efforts to stop TMX from drilling under the Thompson River at Mission Flats near Kamloops. And we're really super happy to have her with us tonight, and she's going to open us up with a land acknowledgement and then share some words about the work that she's doing on her territory. Thanks, Miranda.
Qayqayt Secwepemc Ulu. I'm speaking from my home near Chase, and I would like to acknowledge all of our family and relatives all throughout Secwepemc Ulu. And I'm here tonight to talk about what's going on the territory within Secwepemc land. So I have a couple of updates. I have the main focus that I want to focus on is actually the drilling under the Thompson River and the process that is going on there. And so what we've seen was that they've actually stopped the drills, and then they're readjusting a new trench to trench under the Thompson River. They've left existing pipe where it is on the airport side road, and then onto the other side near Mission Flats where we had our camp there. They've actually started moving around some of the equipment that was Flats area. So we've gotten our technical support team to look at that. And what was going on there was through video and footage, we've seen that they end up having to re-permit that portion. So them wanting to trench or drill under another section and having to adjust that whole portion because they ran into technical difficulties on that actual 2 spots that I spoke of, the airport side road and Mission Flats area. So that is the portion that I would like to draw more attention to, as in we're actually asking for more technical support, as well as people on the ground to take videos and footage. We have some drone footage, we have some pictures and images. We'll have the Secwepemc virtual camp, Unity Camp, the Secwepemc Say No to TMX, and we have our actual website. So we have upcoming dates, as in January 20th, 2021, where 8 of us will be going for our first appearance into Supreme Court in Vancouver. That'll start around 8:39-ish. There we'll be doing a virtual, court support due to all of the other portions of health and restrictions. So yeah, that's the portion that I wanted to speak to, and also within solidarity actions that are going on all throughout the different portions of the territories. And so anyone who's wanting to stop the Trans Mountain pipeline from them expanding opposed portions, all of the hard work this far that's gotten us this far. Kuksham, thank you for all of the hard work and all of the tireless hours of all of our work combined together. We will stop the pipeline. So with that, I have my friend Billy, she's from the Qayqayt Territory, and we've done a lot of solidarity secret fires together. We've done a lot of work together, and so I'd like to also leave that space as well for the Qayqayt that have been holding down their whole area, and as well as all of their wanting their portion to stop the actual deforestation along the Coquihalla and draw more attention as well to that significant areas. So if you look at the Coquihalla and what's going on there, they're really take down a lot of the old growth forest and their portions of environmental impact and so forth, and what they're wanting to do further to decimate that clearing of the pipeline expansion portion. So I want to speak more on that part, and I'm sure that we'll all brainstorm a bit more on what activities and so forth. Also, we're looking for court support, as in the legal perspective. We have non-Native supporters that had been arrested with us, and so we're asking for support on that. We will be putting together our technical support team in the beginning of December. So that's what I have for tonight, and I believe I had about 10 minutes, and then we'll jump into that. I don't know my timeline yet, but the noted other portion, the updates on the ground, seeing more police presence as well as security near Airport Side Road and also near Mission Flats area. We've noted that as of on Monday when we went to do our actual court support for my sister Gua, she changed herself to the gates of Trans Mountain Pipeline, and also our argument in court, they end up not even charging my sister, so she ended up getting her charges dropped, specifically because Canada didn't want to answer the land in question under where's your deed, and also that they had to show that they have no jurisdiction, or where they assume that they have jurisdiction within Secwepemc territory. And so with that whole argument that we came forward, my sister represented herself from our nation. She went and stood there 3 times, represented herself in court, and then from that point on, the judge ended up handing that decision to fully either prosecute or bring her to which portion of the courts that they wanted to. They handed that decision over to Trans Mountain Pipeline. And so for a Supreme Court judge to acknowledge that, like, didn't want to touch the land in question and then hand that over to the Trans Mountain Crown portion was a big monumental part of the work that we were doing. And so for them to actually drop the charges based on they couldn't actually do any of those due diligence to bring forward the land in question. And so I believe that when we have more time in court on January 20th, that'll be our first appearance. With that, we'll present the portion of non-Native perspective, as in the land then being in question again, right? So what we're looking at is the judge either stating that the court injunction is vetoed for those in that surrounding Secwepemc territory. And mainly because they can't answer the question and the court of law and so forth. So I won't go too much into the court of law and doing that portion, but that was very interesting to see and to actually get that perspective for our further upcoming dates. And so what we have here is we have the Secwepemc people bringing forward our actual land, as in we have not signed, ceded, or surrendered our territory. And so we're actually an actual organization. We're actually the nation, which hasn't been brought forward before, right? So what you've seen before was the mutual impact benefit agreements, and also the impact benefit agreements that were signed on by Department of Indian Affairs elected officials. So what we're doing here is we're actually the people who are bringing forward the land in question, and also the cease and desist notification came from the hereditary structure. And how that is different is that Canada actually bought the pipeline. So Canada is in conflict of interest because they also own the Department of Indian Affairs, and that there is the conflict. So the conflict is the investment portion plus taking monies that were already allotted from this portion. So yeah, a bigger discussion on that, I'm sure of it, but I won't get too into detail. But you see how the conflict is that they can't purchase a pipeline through Canada Corporation and then govern the Indigenous people on the other hand. So basically what we're seeing here is that we're seeing that either you take the money and sign the deal and agreement, or else we starve you out. And also you'll starve you out by having no fish if there's ever a spill within our territories. So you see that when you're forced to do something and Canada wanting the Indigenous peoples to buy into a pipeline, there's already that conflict of interest right there. So what we've brought forward was the actual issue. What we've done is just point out the obvious. And the obvious is you can't govern the Indigenous people and then buy a pipeline and then think that you're going to be treated fairly in any scope or any detail of that. So yeah, that's what we've been working on. We have a lot of other upcoming smaller projects within our group. So yeah, follow us, and we usually update onto We the Secwepemc virtual Unity Camp, and so Secwepemc Say No to TMX. So yeah, that's how you can kind of follow what's kind of current and what we're up to. So
thank you so much. Yeah, I really raise my hands to you for your leadership with you and your people. And it's so good to be exchanging this kind of information so that we can all be stronger together, and we're all doing what we can in our own areas to stop the construction. And so we have been putting the links. The link for the virtual Unity Camp should be in the chat if anybody wants to copy that. And also just like to invite anybody, we're all on different territories. A lot of us are in the Lower Mainland, but please feel free to put in the chat where it is that you're joining from. And I think we're just going to move to Christine, is going to just do a little bit of stuff. So go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, stuff. Thanks, Ruth. Thanks, Miranda. It's great to be with you all. We did want to just go over a Zoom protocol of sorts. So as you know, we are recording this session. If you're not comfortable with that, please turn off your video. Otherwise, you might get kicked off the call. We also just wanted to really make crystal clear, this is a public forum. We are assuming that we have been infiltrated with undercover surveillance. So what that means is this is a public forum. Nothing tactical, nothing sensitive will be divulged here. But we still encourage all of us to just kind of just be conscious of that there are moles among us. And yeah, we have been quite careful on our vetting to date, certainly within our small camp, but can never assume anything. So just assume that if you don't personally know someone, they could be undercover or whatever. Right, so we showed you the program at the beginning. Basically, in summary, we're updating us all on what's happening along the TMX route. So Miranda gave us a really thorough kind of insight into what's happening up around the Kamloops area in Secwepemc territory. I'm not sure if Billy is here. She said she would. I didn't see her. But she is hopefully going to talk to us about what's happening along the Coquihalla area. And basically we're going to eventually focus on what's happening down here. And we've got lots of different ways that people can get involved. So I'm hoping that's why many of us are here, because we're seeing TMX really starting to get ready. We saw a drill today, like it's all set to happen in the next couple weeks. So basically, as far as the event goes, the main content goes till 8:30, after which, you know, basically you're free to leave. If you would like to learn more about what's happening on these different mini campaigns, we have dedicated breakout rooms. So we've got a whole format in how to get joined into that, and that's where you can kind of speak a bit more in more detail. Of course, still nothing extremely tactical, but just kind of connecting with people and figuring out how you can be more involved. Yeah, and so just in the Zoom environment, I think we already kind of asked, just stay in muted if you can, if you're not speaking, just because that kind of keeps the noise down. And if you have a speaker view, that might be a nice way to just kind of, when we've got our speakers on, that they kind of occupy the full square of your screen. So that's a good way to kind of set yourself up. And then the last thing is just using the chat box for questions. We will also be copying and pasting relevant links and things into the chat box during the chat, the program. So yeah, just kind of keeping an eye on that too. And also one last thing about the chat box is that whole chat can be downloaded at the end of the session. And you can actually do that. Every participant can do that themselves. And I'm not going to say how because I don't know. I know that it's possible. Does anybody want to speak to that right now? Otherwise, another thing we could do is we'll download it and then we'll kind of, you can send us an email and we'll send it out to you. Okay, so we're moving into the program now. So Miranda generously gave us the land acknowledgement. Thank you for that. And also her perspective from Secwepemc territory. Just gonna do a call out for Billy Pierre. Are you here, Billy? Not seen her. Does anybody know if, well, doesn't look like she's here. I do know just from having interacted with Billy recently as well that there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of clear cutting happening along the Coquihalla, and she was saying that she would really, really love just some support up there. It does likely involve winter camping, so I guess it's not for the faint at heart, certainly for the adventurous with good mountaineering kit maybe. But yeah, if anyone on the call is from that area or loves that area and would love to dedicate some time, she's a real warrior woman, but she can't do it alone. So yeah, feel free to just message us the emails. In fact, we could put one of our emails into the chat. Maybe not right now, at a relevant time, but just we'll put the email in the chat for that. Ruth, should I pass it over to you? And I'm guessing Will George is not here either. However, we have a video.
Yes. So do you want to say a little bit about what that is while I'm setting it up?
Sure. So as many of us know, we're currently in, this week is the Indigenous-led Week of Action. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening all across Canada. And our friend and colleague, Will George, has been a real leader in this area. So I know that there have been marches, there have been sacred fire, rail blockades and the like. So this is a video that maybe speaks 1,000 words.
Of the land have been under attack since the first invaders landed on our shores.
We have been defending our lands
and protecting our waters for generations.
We have never stopped and we never will.
Our laws demand that we uphold our sacred responsibilities,
not only for ourselves, but for the next 7 generations.
Our fight and our love for our land
is what connects all Indigenous people.
From coast to coast, we stand united. We must defend our relatives that are under attack by these invaders.
Invaders that intend on destroying our land and water for profit and impeding our right to be free people.
As Indigenous grassroots people on the front lines,
we call on you to join us in solidarity.
From November 23rd to November 29th, as a national call to action.
To support and respect our sovereignty.
We call on you to demand justice for our people.
To hold the companies committing genocide accountable.
To direct action and rallies where you are.
We are one.
We are one.
We are one.
We are one.
We are united. We will fight together.
Epic. Okay, so we were kind of most recently Coquihalla, Kamloops. We're now coming down the pike into Lower Mainland. But before we do that, Peter McCartney from the Wilderness Committee is going to give us an update of the construction route. So Peter is a climate campaigner with the Wilderness Committee, mobilizing communities against destructive fossil fuel export projects and building political will for a just transition to a zero carbon economy. Peter.
Thanks, Christine. And just because I went through the route last time, I was thinking of just giving an update on what their construction schedule is looking like for the next little bit, unless we want to fly down the route again. But
no, that sounds great, Peter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. So yeah, a couple updates from last month. Unfortunately, their construction schedule gets posted at the beginning of the month, but things we've been keeping an eye on. They have decided not to go forward with the Blue River Band Camp, which is great. I mean, that's thanks to I think the Tiny House Warriors and their years of efforts to prevent that from going forward. But they are working on a pump station in Blue River right now. So, please make sure to tune into what Counties is doing. There's active work kind of right in her area there. They are planning on starting prep work for another drilling under the Raft River, which is just east of Clearwater, only about 2 or 5 minutes east. And the access prep and that is supposed to start in December for that. The good news around the Thompson River crossing is it was in their construction schedule. It's supposed to be finished by now. And like Miranda said, they had to restart all over again. So there's definitely more opportunities there. And it looks like along the Coquihalla, they haven't started laying pipe yet, from what we know. They've been doing a lot of clearing, and that pipe is due to start going in the ground in January by their schedules. Right-of-way clearing and access in the Lower Mainland here is supposed to start in mid-December, and they don't really get any more specific. We know that the area around Brunette Ave is one that they want to start clearing, just sort of just to the east of the Brunette Ave on the north bank of the Brunette there. So that could be where they're starting, but we'll need folks out looking to see where else they may or may not start construction. There's also this weird thing in their construction schedule called pipeline construction that supposedly is starting mid-November, but they are doing that before any of the right-of-way clearing, and so it doesn't quite add up. Unfortunately, they are not required to be any more specific than that. But the Fraser River drilling access preparations. So they want to drill under the Fraser right from kind of Colony Farm Regional Park there by the Federal Institute, underneath the Fraser into basically the East Surrey rail yards along Highway 17 there. And that has been pushed back a little bit. They had wanted to start that in December. That is starting in January, according to their schedule. And then, like I think Christine mentioned, the drill for Burnaby Mountain is supposed to be ready to start, assembly in December. So they, it takes quite a bit of effort to put it all together. And then they want to in January. So lots coming down the pike, so to speak, and we're trying to keep an eye on it. So any help to that front would be great. I know I think Justin's doing quite a bit of work on that as well.
As far as you know, Peter, like with the latest construction schedule information, what would you say is coming up in the Lower Mainland?
For December, it'll be clearing along the right-of-way, and then the Fraser River drilling in January, and the drill under Burnaby Mountain are all sort of imminent, I would say. We'll find out more as well. They usually post their construction schedules in the first couple days of the month, so able to share that around when it's out.
Great. Okay, thanks so much, Peter. That's really helpful. And I think Stina's going to, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or were you pretty well done, Peter?
Nope, yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, so. Great. Okay, take it away, Stina.
Okay, thanks for that. So yeah, as Peter said, it's really heating up. Yeah, so what can we do about it? Well, there was Mina in the chat kind of mentioned like, oh, we should be reaching out to the public. Well, how convenient. So Elliot's going to tell us about something that we've been working on, which is basically outreach and public education, because a lot of people don't know that they're living beside, or that their schools are right beside this very crazy high pressure pipeline. So Elliot is a British activist. He has been working with Extinction Rebellion since moving from Beijing to Vancouver in 2019. Take it away, Elliot.
Hello, apologies in advance if my cat doesn't seem to like the pipeline. Yeah, so we have a flyer, a beautiful flyer, beautiful but kind of frightening as well, which has been redesigned since the last assembly by a wonderful designer whose name I won't mention in case she's shy. I'm not sure if she's here. Yes, there's the flyer, Exhibit A. And as we've heard, things are really heating up. So now's the time to start distributing that flyer. So we've got a few brave volunteers, but we could certainly do with a few more. And also anybody who is willing to print a flyer or knows sympathetic printers, perhaps, who can give us a bit of a discount. I'd like to hear from you if you fall into that bracket. And also, yeah, if you have any experience with canvassing and that kind of things, you have any tips about how to get people's attention or make them more receptive to our message, or you just have any sort of thoughts about our general strategy, then it would be great to see you in the breakout room afterwards. You can also email me, and I'll send you the spreadsheet with the contact details on. You can add your contact details too, along with your intended area of distribution and that kind of thing, and the flyer itself. So yeah, and I think as Mina said, it'd be great to work out how we can target more diverse groups. I mean, I'm particularly interested in the Chinese community in Vancouver myself, so that would be nice to hear about too.
Right on. We wanted to include, like, attach the PDF, but I don't see an option for that, so I'm just gonna do a quick screen share, just so that you can all see it. So it folds beautifully, double-sided, information, yeah, really kind of cuts to the chase. And I guess, so there's a lot of questions about how people are going to get this. Where can they get it from, Elliot?
Well, it's digital form. You can get it from me if you email me. And also just trying to work out ways of getting it over to people in paper form who aren't able to print it out themselves. And if you can't print it out yourself, that's perfectly understandable. So we'll work something out, whether that means one of us already volunteering, running it over to you, or setting up a time to meet.
I just put Elliot's email in the chat. So
yeah, thanks.
Also, he will be in the breakout room at the end, so we can talk more about it then.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thanks so much, Elliot, and thanks for all the work that you've put into that as well. So yeah, breakout room at 8:30, whoever's interested in kind of helping out with that. I just printed out 5 flyers myself the other day, just to see what they look like. They look amazing, and yeah, if everyone printed out five and just gave them to their neighbors, that would already be something. But we do have a coordinated effort that we're kind of, that Elliot and the team have coordinated. So get in touch with him by email or join the breakout room later.
Sorry, Christine, is it 8:15 or 8:30, the breakout rooms?
Officially it starts at 8:30, but we'll kind of start the migration, if that's the right word.
Okay.
Population, whatever language, I don't know. Yeah, 8:30 is the official start. Ruth, did you want to introduce our next speaker?
Sorry, I was muted. So there's been a lot going on at the Holmes Creek camp, including the building of a very wonderful treehouse. And we have with us Timothy, who has been the driving force behind the construction of this amazing treehouse, which is, I believe, almost completed, if not completed by now, and he can tell us more about that. So Timothy, can you please unmute yourself? Is Timothy here?
Just trying to find his name, Ruth. So I didn't see Timothy with like the 2 E's, but we do have a Tim Rose.
No, I don't think that's
not the same.
That's okay.
Or
maybe we can, yeah, we can try and
perhaps we could circle
come
back
to him a little bit later. So let's move on to Mike, who is going to share with us some information about how people can support keeping an eye on things at the camp. Mike, are you here?
I am.
All right, great. Thanks, Mike. So Mike has been involved with the Holmes Creek camp since the beginning, and he's also been supporting the mountain protectors on Burnaby Mountain and taking every opportunity to mobilize people to stop the Trans Mountain Project. So thanks for joining us, Mike, to talk about how we can support the camp.
Yeah, thanks, Ruth, and hi everyone. Thanks for taking time to be here tonight. I'm going to be pretty brief. I'm just going to make a little pitch. It's kind of like an infomercial. So, what if there were a place you could go to forget the craziness of today's world? A place where you could connect with the land and feel uplifted by majestic cottonwoods and maples, and just feel your stress melt away. Well, there is a place. That's Holmes Creek Camp. It's just off North Road, right near Hume Park. The location can be put into the chat. It's just a beautiful spot. It's in the midst of an urban setting, and it needs your support more now than ever because it's being threatened. There's a core group that's been going there regularly, taking care of the site, being present. But you know, we can always use more people. So if you're looking for a way to help that's simple and meaningful, consider being a camp supporter. So what that would mean is we could arrange for a regular person to meet you at camp and give you an orientation. We could connect you to the camp schedule. Then we have a schedule that sort of monitors the comings and goings of people into the camp. And that also helps keep it COVID safe. It is a very safe place. We make sure of that. There's distancing and masks. And you would be involved in just checking the camp, making sure it's okay. There's a rake there. You rake the leaves up. You make it look pretty. You show it some love. You give the camp a hug. It needs it. It needs your presence. It needs your positive energy. So I'm really encouraging you to come get involved. Feel like you're making a difference in a really meaningful way, connecting to the land, which is so very, very important, and it is being threatened right now. So the way to do that is get in touch through the Proton email address that'll be in the chat. It's ppstmx@protonmail.com. Just send me a message saying, hey, Mike, you know, I liked your infomercial. I want to be involved in supporting the camp, and I'll get you set up to do that. I was going to do, but wait, there's more, but there's not really. So I'll just return you to your regular programming.
Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to also hear from someone else who is very close to keeping a close eye on things. Ryan is another one of our people who was born, raised, and lives in Burnaby and has been involved with a few organizations. He recently moved closer to the Burnaby tank farm for some reason, but it does help us, helps for him to keep a close eye on things. So Ryan's going to tell us a little bit about something that he's been masterminding, like Adopt a Pipeline. So Ryan, are you here? Can you unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hey, there you are.
Thanks,
Ryan.
Well, I didn't know we were doing commercials. Otherwise, I would have scripted something and done something better than Mike's. But yeah, so working within a group that is more of a zoom lens into what Peter was hinting about in terms of keeping an eye on what's happening within the Lower Mainland. So the program is called Adopt a Pipeline. It's a tongue-in-cheek play on words on Adopt a Highway. We've divided up 6 sections that lead out of the tank farm based on TMX maps. So they're 1 kilometer sections that we currently have about half of those sections filled with active people monitoring those sections. And we need some more people to fill that out and support us. So the good news and bad news. The bad news is that Trans Mountain has broken earth and begun preliminary construction in Burnaby. We have seen that. Obviously the good news is that we've seen that. So because we were doing regular monitoring of these sections, we were able to witness what's been going on. So this is preparatory work. It's right on the pipeline route. So it has started already. So what we're looking for is we're looking for people that want to get involved right away, that'll have a direct impact right away. And what it means is basically going for a walk So go for a 1 kilometer walk. It takes about 20, 30 minutes. And all you're doing is witnessing. So why that's important is that it allows us to focus our energy. So if Elliot has a flyer that we need to distribute, if we know something is active sooner than another section, then we can focus our energies there. We're a small but mighty group, but if we can focus our energy in the right place at the right time, we're going to be much more effective that way. So the only way to do that is to know what's active, where, at what time. And so that's what this program is all about. So it's a great way to get outdoors, get a little bit of exercise, also to become immersed in the pipeline route. You can walk right on top of the pipeline route through forested trails, along greenways, sidewalks, go out for a bike ride. It's accessible. So the pipeline route can be gotten to from within a couple minutes walk from 4 SkyTrain stations, starting around Production Way and going to Braid Station. So on any of those stations, you can access the pipeline route. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people hopefully to work themselves into probably a team. So if you could commit to walking a section once a week, that's great. If you had 2 people in your team, you only have to walk it once every 2 weeks, or maybe you decide you want to walk it twice a week. The more the better. So it doesn't take many people, but it does take some more people. We do need that. Of course, I can walk the whole route in an hour or so, but that becomes cumbersome to do. So more people, the better. So if you're interested in that, give you more details. You can ask questions about that in the breakout room. Thanks for your time.
Excellent, thanks Ryan. Yeah, so that pitch would be like, get exercise, get fresh air, stop a pipeline, and join like a socially distanced team. Yeah, you can work on your pitch next time. PJ asks, do we have a shared map? And I know that Ryan, you put together a really good map. I know that Peter's got a really good map. So there are our maps, right? So maybe get in touch with Ryan and or go to the breakout room.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that Mike is also coordinating people that want to get involved with the Adopt a Pipeline. So that same Proton, ppstmx@protonmail.com. If you want to say, I'm interested in the Adopt a Pipeline program, he can get you connected that way.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, Ryan, for everything that you do. Okay, moving on to Mayan. Mayan's going to talk to us about nonviolent direct action, the whole spectrum of risk, peaceful and disruptive activism. So Mayan is a sustainability scientist, freshly indoctorated. She's a fresh PhD from UBC. She's also the coordinator of Extinction Rebellion's Media and Messaging Circle. Take it away, Mayan.
Thanks so much, Christine. So we've heard about some of the roles that people can take that are pretty low risk, that have to do with canvassing, monitoring, taking care of camp and such. But there's also spikier actions that are going to be deployed that are necessary and that some people are ready for. So, and that other people might be getting ready for. So that spans from coming on a march or coming to one of the road blockades and rail blockades that are happening this week, for example. I think there's one still happening right now at Grandview and Renfrew in Vancouver. There will be one happening tomorrow in Burnaby, organized by XR. And coming out and sort of putting your body in the way in a fairly low risk way, but still actually showing up in a disruptive way, and putting your body on the line. And that's what the idea of direct action is, that instead of like writing a letter or whatever, you're actually showing up and directly disrupting business as usual in a really targeted, strategic way to make that a point. And that goes all the way into arrestable actions, where the disruption doesn't end when the authorities tell you to leave, but there's more of a standoff that takes place. And people are getting ready for those kinds of actions here in the Lower Mainland in the path of TMX. So I just wanted to let you know that those actions are being planned, and they are still, from my understanding, fairly small in number at the moment, but there's a number of different affinity groups that have come together to do these kinds of actions as a group. This is not the kind of these direct actions are not the kind of things that you do alone. They're something you do in a group of people that you trust, that you know, that you've prepared a little bit with. And so that is happening. And if you want to get connected to those existing groups, you can let me know and I will connect you to the right people. And I can put my email there in the chat box. If you want to form your own affinity group, you can also do that. And I can support you with press release and media needs. And the whole group can support you with logistics and kind of having a bigger circle of people around that are aware of what you're planning and that can come and support and witness an arrestable action like that that's happening. So this is, yeah, I guess this is a bit of a, it's another infomercial or pitch, I guess, but just to let everybody know that these actions are being planned and that there is space for more actions like this to be planned, whether in a new affinity group or by joining one of the 3 or so groups that have already been formed. And that includes climbers, it includes people of faith, it includes people that are willing to take action on the ground using different strategies. And I won't obviously get into too many details there, but yeah, these things are coming together. I'm supporting the groups with doing some prep so that we know that we're communicating these actions to the media in an effective way and they're not just happening without anybody knowing about them. So this is part of the preparation we need to be making.
So yeah, I think that kind of flows right into, I mean, you mentioned the media and communications, Maya, and I don't know if you had anything more that you wanted or needed to say about that, but that's another important aspect of supporting these kinds of actions. Was there anything else you wanted to add about media and communications, or is there a need for people to help with that?
Okay, yeah, so there's a small team of people that are working on media. I'm one of them. So that means writing press releases ahead of time, making sure they go out. There could be, I think there's always a need for more people to be active on social media and to be amplifying things as well. So if you have any of those skills and are interested in doing some of that writing piece, please get in touch as well. I can just put my email down here for that. And yeah, I'd love to have a bit more help in that area. So I think it's a small team that's pretty good right now, but always good to have more people, especially on the social media.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mayan, for all of that and for all the work that you do for the group. And that does sort of lead us into another important area that's part of this whole thing that goes along with direct action, and that is legal support. And we are really happy to have with us again Chris Hermes, who is with the Law Union of BC. And Chris is an activist and a freelance journalist and has provided legal support for more than 200 people arrested for breaching the Trans Mountain Injunction in 2018. And he joined us in our first People's Assembly as well. And that was followed by an actual whole evening of legal training and he's here again with us tonight to just kind of give an overview of the different aspects of what is involved in legal support. I think like some of the different roles that people could maybe help out with. So Chris, can you mute yourself? And
thanks, Ruth.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Chris.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. So yeah, lots of familiar faces and lots of unfamiliar faces, but glad to be here. It's exciting to be talking to so many people on this important issue of stopping the pipeline. So thanks for having me. So I would try to answer what is legal support and why is it important? And many folks here, I think, already know why it's important, but I'll just say briefly that the colonial legal system can be extremely intimidating, and it can be oppressive to certain people, and I think it's important to well, first of all, to try to demystify that process as much as possible, to understand it, and to be able to know enough that you can manipulate it to your will, basically. And so demystification of the legal process is a big part of legal support. But it's also important to know that your comrades have your back. And so if you do take bold action that's going to result in potentially harsh consequences, it's good to know that people will be there basically tracking you, making sure you're as safe as possible, your needs are met, and perhaps even follow you through the process of prosecution and trial, if that's something that we all have the capacity for. So some of the nuts and bolts of legal support, beyond why it's important that we focus attention on this, is that demystification comes with workshops and trainings on what the law is, how it works, and how to manipulate it. Or at least suffer the least severe consequences from it. So that's prior to the actions, and I'll be doing another workshop coming up soon on understanding your rights and responsibilities around taking direct action, and what some of the consequences might be. Another aspect of legal support is at the day of action, having people who are monitoring the police and making sure that if they do act inappropriately, if they do act out violently, that is being recorded and documented for future use potentially. That is not always necessary. Legal observers are what we call those folks who are paying attention to what the police are doing. I think that police misconduct is not always something that happens at protests in the Lower Mainland, although especially with certain populations, it does indeed happen. And it's good to make sure that it's well documented. Hotlines can be implemented where people can access information about their situation, can assist in tracking arrests and arrestees as they go through the process. Lawyers can be on hand as part of that hotline to answer questions if there are any. And especially for folks who are being detained, perhaps in jail, and their needs are not being met, and a lawyer is essential in certain instances to make sure that people's needs are indeed being met. And then after the action, the arrest process and release, there is of course the potential that if you are arrested, that you'll be tried. And so there's a whole support system that can be implemented around making sure that that the process, is demystified for people as it happens. If you want to represent yourself through that process, since lawyers can often be hard to come by, at least for free or low rate. And so sometimes or inevitably people will have to represent themselves, and it's helpful to understand the legal process when doing so. And it can have political ramifications for representing yourself at trial, as well as I'm sure several people on this call can talk about as having experienced it themselves. So as Ruth said, I'm here representing the Law Union of BC. I am not a lawyer. I'm what I consider a legal worker, and have done this work for many years. And what inspires me and what brings me to this work is being able to support people to push back against an oppressive system like the colonial legal system. So anything that I can do that will advance that, I'm here and available, and I want to support you all in your efforts to stop the pipeline. So thanks for listening.
Thanks so much. Chris, you mentioned that there's going to be an upcoming workshop, and that's news to me. That's really exciting to hear. A Knowing Your Rights workshop, can you say more about when and where that's happening?
Well, actually, I was under maybe the misunderstanding that I would be doing another Know Your Rights workshop in advance of potential actions. If that's not happening, there is nothing scheduled, but I am available. I'm happy to do that, especially if there are direct actions imminently being planned. In fact, I do what Mayan just mentioned, that there were actions coming up, maybe not high risk or arrestable actions, but in the event that those are planned and executed, I would love to be able to come and provide a training on behalf of the Law Union. So just let me know.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. And yes, if anybody's interested in that, one thing you can do is come to the breakout room and we can talk some more about that. Okay, over to you, Stina.
Great. Yeah, the breakout room with Carly, all about legal stuff, which is a nice thread now to our final speaker, which is Rod Marining. He's going to talk to us about another branch of work that we're doing or exploring, all about legal and injunctions. So Rod Marining has been an environmental activist since the notion emerged in the 1970s. As a Greenpeace co-founder and director of Sea Shepherd Canada, he has sailed into nuclear testing zones, spent months at sea defending whales, and protected vast areas of natural ecosystems in BC and beyond. He's been involved in the Holmes Creek camp since August. Rod, take it away. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Christine and Ruth, for hosting this. Oh, wow. Sorry about that. I pushed, instead of pushing unmute, I pushed the stop video. Okay, back to this. Thank you, Christine and Ruth. Thanks for hosting this. And first of all, I want to say that I'm not a lawyer, but however, I'm an old political science student from Simon Fraser. And I know that politics and law go together hand in hand. So first of all, I'm going to talk about politics, what's happening in Ottawa today or last couple of days. I'm going to read you just the first paragraph of a news story that came out on the 25th. A new report from energy Canada Energy Regulator projects that if Canada strengthens its climate policies to cut more greenhouse gas emissions, it could eliminate the need for both the Trans Mountain expansion and the new Keystone XL pipeline. So what this which is he's hired by the Canadian, he's a government servant called the Canada Energy Regulator, and he's coming out and saying that there's no need to go ahead with the Trans Mountain expansion and the new Keystone XL pipeline. Now, I want to say that we're this close to stopping the pipeline, and people think, oh God, how can he even say that? I mean, this is pretty hard to stop a pipeline in the midst of it being built. But it's you can see all the workings that's happening for the last 2 years, actually. Some of the top people said, listen, if you own the pipeline, you could stop it at any time, and because you own it, and you can switch wherever the political winds are blowing. And the situation now is that the climate issue is starting to heat up. We have Biden in the White House. And as you know, whatever the elephant does, we're just a little mouse, but we're going to trample in the same direction the elephant is going. And if it's going to start dealing with climate change, we have to deal with climate change. There's a bill sitting in Ottawa. And if I go into further down in this article, which just came out, like, again, a couple of days ago, they're saying basically that we need to save $22 billion. The Tom Gundon, a resource environmental planning professor at Simon Fraser, says the status quo scenario of Energy Futures report is not realistic since the government just introduced legislation last week to make getting to net zero emissions by 2050 legally binding. So,
Hey,
I don't
Ron.
want to, yeah?
Could you post a link to that article? That would be really helpful. And we're actually coming up to time, so I'm going to need to ask you to.
One more minute.
Yeah.
Anyways, the point is that we're that close, and I'm just going to. We have just one more minute. We have multiple challenges to the present injunction. I will not go into detail as I'm trying to be vague about us for strategic reasons. However, I will.
Rod, I'm really sorry, but people are starting to leave, and we need to show some slides about what's coming up, like tomorrow.
Okay.
Do you mind? Do you mind if we change tack?
No, I think I just want to finish this off. It'll only take 30 seconds.
Okay. Do you mind if I just share the screen so people can see it before they have to leave? You keep talking then.
Okay. However, the volume is. I'm having an echo here. So challenging the injunction from the perspective that it's illegal does not cover the climate impacts. As you know, almost everyone who has gone to jail up to now has been charged with violating the current injunction. We are exploring a twist here where we could take the offensive and place an injunction on TMX on the basis of illegitimate claims. These are illegitimate claims that TMX has made. We will be going into court on various issues such as SARA, Aboriginal title and rights, which Miranda has gone into detail, unceded Indigenous territory, violations of treaty rights, human health, such as the 30,000 people that are threatened by this storage of bitumen on Burnaby Mountain, conflict of interest issues, which Miranda also touched upon. We need money to boost our legal fund, which will exceed tens of thousands of dollars, but we're doing really well with getting grants in from various different sources. So I really would, I'll end it right there, and I thank you very much for your time. Okay, thank you. Over to you.
Thanks so much, Rod. Yeah, so that's kind of a wrap up of our program. We do have, so you can see on the slide, there's a bunch of stuff coming up, starting as early as tomorrow. So there is a nationwide rail blockade extending from Vancouver to Montreal and maybe beyond. So that is an Extinction Rebellion led in solidarity with Indigenous allies. On November 28th, so Timothy is in the tree, apparently. He's our, we mentioned the Hilton. Actually, I don't know if we called it that, but it's basically what it is compared to the portaledge that some of us occupied in August. So on Saturday, we're having an open house. It will be a hybrid where the climbers who have taken that on as their direct action of choice will have a chance to go up and suss it out in a COVID-friendly way. It will also be Zoomed, so from 1 to 2:30. So if you're interested in that, I guess send a note to us and we'll send the Zoom link and it'll be registered. January 20th, we've got the court support for the folks who were arrested up in Qayqayt territory, including Miranda and family and some of our friends from down here. And yeah, basically just in sum up, I think we can say, you know, Ryan said, the ground has been broken. We have seen drills. It's happening. Apparently December 10th is the official date that Trans Mountain Expansion is intending to begin clearing. So that's kind of D-Day. And of course, there's a lot of prep to do in advance of that. So this is our segue now. Thank you so much for coming along, everyone. It's really great to connect. If anyone would like to stay on for the breakout, this is where you can kind of connect and maybe even establish an affinity group and get a clear sense of how to be involved.
I think there was one thing that we were going to mention, and that is that there's going to be a rail blockade tomorrow. And I'm going to put something in the chat about that.
That's right, yeah, the link.
Okay, done.
Yeah, the location will be announced on Facebook at 9 a.m. And I guess it's going to be the Extinction Rebellion Vancouver group, Facebook group, yeah. Okay, so unless anyone has anything else on this, we're kind of coming to that magical time, oh shoot, where we move into our breakout rooms. So there are 4 rooms of your choice. So if you'd like to get involved in outreach and public education, that's room number 1 with Elliot. So if you could use the chat, ideally private chat. So if you could find Jacqueline in the participants and then just send her the number that you want. She's going to do the honors on all of that, all those logistics. Thank you, Jacqueline. So room number 1 is outreach and education with Elliot. Room number 2 is surveillance, eyes on the ground, adopt a pipeline with Mike and Ryan. Room number 3 will be the nonviolent direct action with Mayan and others. As we mentioned, there's several nonviolent direct action affinity groups already formed. And then the 4th room is legal support, and that's with Carly. So I believe while we wait for all that to process, we've got a treat.
Yes, we do. And I'm going to ask you to put the details about the breakout rooms in the chat so that people can refer to them, because I'm going to share my screen and we're going to watch a 5-minute music video from Holly Arntzen and Kevin Wright, who are the Wilds, and it's a song called March of the Spirit Bear. So while we're watching the video, you can be putting your choice into the chat for which breakout room you want, and we will try to get that all sorted out in the next 5 minutes. So enjoy the video, and thank you so much to Holly and Kevin for allowing us to use this.
Rivers Inlet and the Nass and Kidwanga. Live the Gitgat, Heltsit, Simshan, Newhawk, and Nishga. Raven set aside a rainforest home where he decreed spirit bears can freely roam and live together in harmony. I say, Pacific Ocean pound, Princess Royal Island, and oil tankers glide past Hartley Bay. Grow cedar trees 1,000 years old, and bears as white as clouds on a sunny day. We need the forest to sustain the ancient highways of the bear, footsteps year by year. The Great Bear Rainforest keeps the rain a falling, salmon running, and the water's clear.
Treasure, the debts, the black, the white, the dark, the light. Black oil, white bears, oil spills, who cares? Like salmon waiting at the mouth of the quay to go upstream and spawn. Waiting for rain to raise water levels. Why is it taking so long? We know what we gotta do and where we need to go. We can't get there from here, but we can put our together and get our collective ass in gear. We need the
Okay. Hope that you all enjoyed that. And yeah, Jacqueline, are you there? You want to give us a little update on whether we're ready for breakout rooms?
Yeah, so I have pretty much everyone who's given me a number loaded in. I just see a couple last ones in there that I'll put in right now, and then I'll be able to open this up. So how this will work for those of you who weren't on our last assembly is that once I open the rooms, you'll have an invite that shows up on your screen, and it will say, do you want to go into room number 1, 2, whatever it was, the one that you selected. And all you'll do is click on the button, say yes, and you'll be directed into that room. Oh, I have an echo? Is that me? So there's a few people that I don't have sorted yet, so don't worry, you're going to be able to get into a room. It's just that we'll let the people who are already set go on into their sessions. So I'm going to open those up now, and then maybe just wait a minute, and then if you need to know what the rooms are still, you can always look in the chat box. I think we've had it posted a couple times there. And I think that's it. So is the idea, Ruth, for everyone to come back at the end, or people are just going to depart from their breakout rooms?
I don't know, Christine, we didn't really talk about that. I think the idea was that people would just go from there. I don't think there was any intention to come back together as a big group after this.
Okay, that sounds fine. So in that case, if people don't leave on their own, I'll kind of like ask people to start wrapping things up, let's say around 8:45, and we'll call things to a close. So everyone has like a 5-minute wind down before I end the meeting, because once I do that, it will end it for everyone. And then if you get into a room and you decide you want to go check into another room, because I think, for example, room number 1 is the fullest, you can always come back. So you can exit your breakout room and it will bring you back to like the main hall, and then you can let me know from there where you'd like to go. All right, so on that note,
Wait.
Oh.
Bye, everyone.
Oh, bye.
So good to all come together. Thanks, everyone, for coming and participating. And thanks, Jacqueline, for organizing the breakout rooms.
Yeah, definitely.
You're welcome. Okay, here we go. Rod, I don't know if you can hear me, but I don't have you assigned to a breakout room. Did you have a preference? Oh, sorry, you're muted there.
Number 4, please.
Number 4? Okay. And Earl, I see your message. I'm just going to check and see. Okay, I see. I put you into room 2 by accident. So I switched that to room 3. So you should see the new request come up. And then Mike, you're wanting to go into room 3 as well. There we go. Okay, so for those of you who are left, if you would like to go into a breakout room, there's 4 options. The first of which is outreach and public education. Number 2 is surveillance, or that adopt a pipeline idea. 3 is nonviolent direct action. And 4 is legal support. So if you know which one you'd like to go to, or if you'd like to just go to any of the above, you can comment in the chat box and I'll send you a request that you can accept to then go into that room. Well, I think, John, on your screen, is that you showing a letter 1 or a number 1? There we go. Okay. Oh.
Jacqueline, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you there.
Could you put me in with Adopt a Pipeline? I should be there with Ryan, actually.
Yeah, so I changed your request. So now the door should go to that Adopt a Pipeline surveillance group. Do you see it on your screen?
No, I'm not seeing it. I got the first door to get into 3, but it was the wrong one.
Yeah, it should work. Let me see. You don't happen to have like extra displays open, do you?
No, I'm just on an iPad.
Oh, okay.
But the first one worked. That's weird. I can leave and rejoin if you want.
Sure, if you'd like, or actually, if you want to give me 1 sec, I'll try.
Sure.
I'll just like give you another option, and then I'll open it and change it again.
Okay.
It's like they're turning it off and on again idea. You have anything on your end now?
No. Maybe I'm supposed to have an early night.
Well, it says you're like welcome to go to that surveillance Adopt a Pipeline group, but you're grayed out, which means you haven't accepted the request yet. So if you don't see it on your screen, maybe on the bottom, is there a button that says breakouts? Kind of where there's like chat, participants, share screen, etc.
Not seeing it. On the iPad, there's nothing along the bottom. Just your name is small on the left, and I got my picture small. You're big on the screen. Great. Switch camera. Oh, join breakout room. It's on the side. There we are.
Ah, there we go. Okay, have fun.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, and John, I can see the request should be on your screen now to go to the breakout room. It's usually off to the side a little bit. I think the right-hand side of the Zoom window. Oh, and Hannah, I see your comment. Thanks for being here. And if you gotta go, thanks for coming anyway. The recording does take some time to process, especially because it was an hour and a half long. So it should be available sometime later tomorrow, at which point you can email Ruth or Christine, and they'll be able to give you the link. I usually put it in a Google Drive, so you can download it from there. And John, I'm going to give you a co-host ability, so you should be able to unmute yourself if you wanted to talk things through, if you're having a hard time finding the button. I think some people that are working on like iPads or different displays sometimes have a hard time finding it.